Oh, yeah. This one is gonna hit. I am a devout Christian man, and I spent a year and a half worshiping Satan. I spent a year and a half worshiping the devil as a devout Christian man. Let's talk about that. Now, before you click off, okay, we're actually going somewhere with this. This is great. So, there is an abundance of everything all the time, an abundance of everything everywhere all the time, all at once. Okay. And if you don't believe that, then you believe that there is lack. And if you believe that there's lack, then you believe in an abundance of lack. So there's still abundance everywhere, all at once, all the time, but you just choose to believe in abundance of lack. So you can experience whatever you want. As a man thinketh, so shall he become, says it in the Bible. He who believes he can and he who believes he can't are both right. Also says it in the Bible. Okay? And so if you actually don't have faith, right? You're a devout atheist. You just, I can't get behind this whole God thing, right? It's too ridiculous. There's some fancy divine omnipotent sky daddy that made everything. No, okay, it's ridiculous. There's this menial. I'm a nihilist. None of this means anything. We're just a blip in the grand cosmos. There's no purpose. None of this. It's just basically a waked, lucid dream that we're all just experiencing together. Okay, that's your philosophy. Okay, well, actually, that is faith. It's just faith in nothing, which takes more faith than having faith in God, which is a different conversation, right? We can do a whole podcast on that. But believing in atheism is a faith in nothing, which is a faith in fear. And so let's get on topic here and let's find the point, right? I worshipped the devil for a year and a half. Okay. And one cannot serve two masters. That's also in the Bible. Okay. So you are either on God's team or you're on Satan's team. It's one of the two. Okay. Angels, demons, whatever. All right. So, well, having faith is being on God's team. I have faith. It's all going to work out. Everything's going to happen as it needs to be. Life is happening for me, not to me. If you have fear, you are on Satan's team. Satan's got you. He's got a grip on your mind. He has you under a form of mind control. You are a mindless, fear-based zombie walking around looking for dopamine, your next hit of temporary happiness. But mostly, primarily, you're operating completely out of a fear-based modality. You're worshiping the devil because you have faith in fear instead of faith in faith. And so if you're grasping what I'm saying, let's make this tangible, right? I just went through a period in my life where this was back in early 22. And the company that I've been building full time, sacrificed everything in my life for just to build this thing up. And I found myself ground zero for the fourth time in my life, starting over. Now with experience, but it's like, wow, I've got all these crazy cool accolades under my belt. I've done over $1 million in sales. I'm a seven-figure producer, and I was VC funded. I was advising A-list celebrities, and now I'm living with my parents in their second property. They're intermittently in and out, and I'm on ground zero again, starting over with my business from ground zero. I had filed Chapter 7 bankruptcy, literal ground zero, coming from knowledge, but got nothing, no resources, starting over. 4.5, almost 5 years into my entrepreneurial process. And I was like, wow, wow. And so I rode with that. And, I let that mentality, that thought basis, that modality run my life. And I was like, oh, well, boo-hoo, poor me. My life's so hard. Like, all this hard stuff's happening to me that everybody else's life is easier than this. They don't have to go through the hard things I have to go through. It's not fair. I hate that one. It's not fair. Okay. Life's not fair. Get used to it. Right. But I ran with that. And I was like, this is okay. All right. I'm just destined to have a really hard life, and everything's just going to be hard for me. And guess what? It was. And I experienced that reality. Okay. As a man thinketh. And then that sort of bled into, if you listen to the last episode, we talked about the four pillars: health, wealth, love, happiness. And that bled into, that evil thought, which is like, it's like a toxic sludge of goop living in fear. It's an infection. It's a disease that spreads across your mind. And it hit all my pillars. It started seeping into my pillars and rotting them away one by one. I found myself 246 pounds and 34.5% BMI after being wildly skinny, the tall, scrawny, frail kid my whole life. And even coming from 18 to 21 years old, I was ripped. I was shredded. I didn't even go to the gym. I did 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups a day religiously, but that's it. I never adopted the gym habit. I was shredded. I was very lean my whole life. And then I found myself moping around. Oh, boohoo, poor me. Life's so hard. I hate my life. I don't love myself. I'll never make it. And I found myself obese, clinically obese. And then I found myself, trying to rocket launch my business back up where I had it previously, And then the crazy part mentally about it was that 3.5 years prior, I was doing $40,000 a month. And now I'm over here scraping by, trying to touch 5,000, just trying to touch it. And I'm having a hard time. And then I got into a relationship, and it was rocky, very hard, very challenging, turbulent, tribulation after tribulation, just toxic energy dynamic. And and then the fulfillment. Oh man, the happiness. None. I hate myself. I hate my life. Every day I'd wake up and still alive. This thing again. Ugh. All right, I guess I'll get up and do something. I guess, since I'm here. Isn't that just such a pitiful way to live? It's terrible. Horrible. Book recommendation: Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. Okay, so I found myself here. And what woke me up? Well, one, I started going to church again. Got back into my faith. Lovely. Love it. I'm all about Jesus. I'm all about God. Not necessarily centralized religion, but a relationship with Jesus Christ, reading the scriptures, understanding the gospel, and then moving and living in accordance with that, trying to be a devout, faith-driven person, trying to be, the example. Not some of this other fugazi stuff, which we'll talk about in a separate episode of, hypocrisy and centralized religion and why people stray away from it because of the things that they see and experience, bigotry. But yeah, I want to be the real example. I want to really be righteous. And so I started going to church again. And not only that, but when I stepped on a scale and realized I was obese and how far I've fallen. And then I sat down and meditated and prayed on it. And I was bawling my eyes out, bawling. And I was like, God, I'm mad. I'm really mad because I don't understand. I, I had all these huge accolades. I was doing it on the global stage at a high level. And then it was all taken away from me. And then I got this divine moment of clarity. You could call it the Holy Spirit touching me, my intuition. And I realized, wait a second. All three times that I went from nothing to profound success on the worldly global stage, every single time I did it without God. And when people would come and talk to me when I was getting public speaking engagements, it was me. Me. I did this. I did that. I did this. I've accomplished this. I got this done. This was me. All me. And then it was taken away from me. I never did it with God. And I got goosebumps right now. And I realized, wait a second. So I've got to touch my dreams and visions, the beginning phases of them becoming tangible and real. And then it's been pulled away from me every time because I haven't been in faith. I haven't been devout and godly and righteous. And not to mention the seven deadly sins I was just living in. Man, we won't even go into the raving days, man. I was living in degeneracy. But that was my BC times before Christ, right? And, I realized that day, sitting out here in the grass, sun gazing, meditating, talking to God, building that relationship, I realized, wait a second, I'm worshiping the devil. When's the last time I sat down, was present in the moment, not on technology, and talked to God, worked on that relationship, and said, hey, God, today's all right. Today's pretty good. Hey, God, today's not that great. I'm really having a hard time today. And, I'm tribulation after tribulation after tribulation. This is what I'm dealing with today. Hey, God, I don't even really have a basis of, whether today was good or bad or not. I just wanted to check in with you, talk to you, tell you, hey, I talked to a stranger today, and she was at the Costco gas pump, probably 60 years old, and I asked her how she was doing, and she immediately opened up to me about her mom, and her mom was going through heart surgery, and the next day, and she asked me to pray for her, and we prayed right there, and she cried and hugged me, and it was a beautiful moment, and thank you, God, for giving me that opportunity to do that, and use my faith to be a true disciple today. That was awesome. I wasn't doing any of this, none of it, okay? And I realized, wait a second. So if I'm operating my entire life off of fear, okay, I'm I'm not on God's team. So what does that mean? I'm on Satan's team, because in the book Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill, fear is one of Satan's biggest tools, biggest ones. Another one is food, but we won't go into all those. We can do a full book breakdown in one of these podcasts on that, because it's a good book. Maybe we'll do a book breakdown podcast. That'd be great. Think and Grow Rich is a good one. Napoleon Hill as well. So I realized that this is not it. I need to make a change. And I started working on that relationship. And this was in September of 2022. And I made the change. And whether you're a devout follower of Christ, and you're with the faith, or maybe you're, wishy-washy, you're on the edge, maybe you're full atheist, maybe you're lukewarm, no matter where you are, when you make a decision like this to consciously build that relationship and move more in faith, not fear, you will see God moving in your life. I promise you. I promise. I don't know what it's going to look like in your life, but I can tell you beyond a shadow of a doubt. I've seen it. I've seen it in my life. I felt it. It's the synchronicities are too bold to ignore. I mean, it's just plain as day, right in my face. So, why do I share this, and why did I make it such a clickbaity title, huh? I worship the devil, right? I never went to a church of Satan and like was getting down there and, hey, Satan, I love you, man. No, no, it wasn't like that. It was just clickbait, talking about faith over fear, not fear over faith, right? But I needed to share this because, one, I felt called to share it, and two, I know there's someone out there that may be living in their unconscious, right? Because, like, here's the thing. It wasn't until that moment that I had a moment of self-realization where, God knocked on my cerebellum and said, "Hey, excuse me, you're not facing the right direction, buddy. It's my son. Turn around. I'm right here." It wasn't until I had that divine moment of clarity that I really grasped. I didn't I didn't grasp what was going on, you know? Sorry, I said September of 23 or 22. It was actually February of 23. But anyways, I didn't really grasp it. I didn't understand that I was moving that way until I had that divine moment of clarity. And then I was like, I've been living and operating my entire life off of fear for almost 2 years, and my entire life is crumbling around me because of operating like this. I can't keep doing this. But I was so blind and oblivious to it in the moment as it was happening I didn't see it. And maybe you don't see it. And I hope that this podcast serves to call attention to it, because maybe, I mean, really, I don't really need to affect millions of people. If there's just one person that listens to this and has a moment of self-reflection and goes, I probably need to build that relationship more. I probably need to move in faith more. I probably need to practice gratitude more. I probably need to get up every morning and pray instead of grab my phone and start scrolling social media to get fake dopamine, right? I'm sorry if that's calling you out and hurting you, and maybe that just triggered your ego a little bit, but also maybe we need to trigger each other's egos a little bit. Stop doing that. Put your phone down for the first hour of the day. Talk to God, okay? So, I just need one person. I don't even need one person, right? I'm just posting this because I want to post it. But if one person is positively affected by this message, that'd be beautiful. I I want you guys to do more, be better, be righteous, be devout in your faith. I want to see you in heaven. I want you to know the good news. We're gonna make a whole podcast about the good news. I got to share it. I'm a disciple, and I want you to know, one, you're not alone, but two, we really are in a spiritual war, and it's a fight for your soul, and you can win only by the grace of God, right? We're all sinners. We all suck. We all fall short of the glory of God, but God's great. And he gave us his only begotten son, sacrificed him, perfect man, lived a perfect life, completely righteous. And he took on the sin of the world. He became sin, conquered death, and paved the way, gave us a path to salvation. Everybody needs to know about it. And yeah, I think you need to use your faith muscle, because it is a muscle. It's a skill set. And it starts with you. I love you. Have a beautiful day.